Hello, this is Tomasz from Software Mention, and welcome to the Software Mention video series. So in this series, we're gonna meet with our clients and some people from the community, and we're gonna talk about cool apps and tools that they build. So today, we have Alex from Partiful, who's a staff engineer at Partiful, and we're gonna talk about the Partiful app. Welcome, Alex.
Hey, Tomas. Thanks for having me. And happy to talk about Partiful and React Native and the stuff we worked on with Software Mention.
Cool. Really happy, really glad that we have you here. Okay, so maybe for our audience who might not be familiar with the product, if you could tell us a couple of sentences about Partiful.
Yeah. So Partiful is a event platform where you can create beautiful event pages, send it out to your friends, invite them, track their RSVPs. And then recently, if you don't have an event in mind, you can also use Partiful to discover events happening in your area.
This kind of sounds like Facebook groups. Is this
Yeah.
somewhat similar?
Yeah, so it's similar to a Facebook events product. I definitely a lot of us at the Partiful team used to use Facebook events a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a decade ago. It's a similar product, but we believe that we could build a new platform where people don't need to have a Facebook account or be checking their Facebook, and still meet up with friends and make events and just meet together IRL.
Yeah, this is cool. So imagine that I'm a host. I'm gonna host some party. So what are the features that Partiful offers? I assume that I can just create an event and then I'm gonna invite some people. And what else?
Yeah, so when you go to Partiful, you can create an event. We have beautiful defaults, but if you want to add a little personality, you can change the theme and the effect. You can set the date. You can even ask guests to choose between several days.
Oh,
And you can upload a poster or choose a poster from our library. And then once you're happy with that, you can send it out to your friends. You could use Partiful's invite system where we will notify people if they're on our platform. Or you could just take the link, send it out through your own messaging channels. And people will slowly, RSVP. They'll say yes, they'll say maybe, or can't go. They might peek at the guest list. So, that's a very common and popular feature of seeing who else is going to the event. And as a host, one thing you can do is send out reminders. So it's if people haven't responded, we'll send out a reminder like, "Hey, Alex invited you to his birthday party. Are you going to come?" And then hosts can even send out a custom message called a text blast. So if, let's say, something changed, you can send a text to all of the guests saying, "Hey, I changed the location," or "Hey, I changed the time." So it's a very useful logistical tool. And then once the event's over, you can do things like upload photos so that it's easy to share, photos. The host can do that. Any of the guests can upload photos as well. And it kind of becomes a memory of the event.
sounds really cool. So is it a website or a mobile app? How did it start? Does it work on iOS and Android?
Yeah. So when Partiful first started, it was a website, one of the rare web first consumer products, I believe. I think naturally when you create an event and you want to get your friends to RSVP, it's kind of a lot to ask them to download an app before they can RSVP. So Partiful started off as a website. Once we started to get more traction, people wanted an app so that they could stay logged in and do more features. And so yes, Partiful now is available on both iOS and Android. So yeah, check it out in the App Store and the Play Store.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna put some links in the description. Also, leave us a subscription if you're not subscribed yet. So it's an app for iOS and Android, and I assume that it's written in React Native. And what was the reason to choose React Native over, let's say, SwiftUI or Kotlin multi-platform? Have you considered these options, or was it like a just no-brainer to choose React Native? What was the story here?
Yeah. So this was around 2021, I believe. Like, no, maybe 2022. Um, we definitely considered, all the options, not just React Native. Um, you know, so like I mentioned, we started off with the web product, and then once we started to see more usage, people wanting to return to the product, it made a lot of sense for us to invest in building an app.
Mm-hmm.
The team was very small at the time. I think we were maybe 5 people. None of us had iOS or Kotlin, Android experience. And all of us were, using TypeScript. We have a TypeScript monorepo. Me personally, I had web background and also backend background. And, our CTO kind of asked me like, hey, do you want to build the app? And I'm like, oh, do I have to learn Objective-C or Kotlin? I was like, okay, I'll do it if we have to. But yeah, we kind of looked at the landscape and asked around our network, and there was starting to be a lot of faith in React Native can get you a really good product. This was also when I think a lot of Expo stuff was exiting beta. So I had a lot of hope that the ecosystem was strong. And so, yeah, choosing React Native was a really practical decision for us in terms of we didn't have to learn, a lot of new languages. Obviously we can ship an iOS and Android product with mostly the same code. And also because we had a web product already, we could share a lot of business logic across our web and app, which, saves time. It reduces bugs, makes sure that we have parity of features. So yeah, very practical. And then I would also add choosing React Native kind of fit our company culture. And what I mean by that is like Partiful, when we hire engineers, our titles are product engineer.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of a trendy term now. But what that meant is, you're, expected to contribute full stack. So it could be on the web, it could be app, it could be backend, and also product. Like all of the engineers are expected to contribute to product as well. And so it's very like full stack. And, choosing React Native really empowered our engineers to be as full stack as possible. So, when we hire new engineers, they come in and like week 1, they can ship something on the app, they can ship something on the web, they can change the backend. And I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to move to a startup, was to be able to like, build product no matter, what the technical requirements were.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. So at some point, JavaScript or TypeScript might not be enough, and when you start shipping the native apps, you're gonna start at some point you're gonna need to integrate with some native features. And I know that that Partiful also has an app clip and a live activity. So if you could tell us more about like how they work and how they were implemented, how is it to integrate? Like how does it work to integrate iOS native iOS features into a React Native app? Was it easy? Like what was the experience?
Yeah. So yeah, like before, when we chose to use React Native, honestly, I didn't expect that these things were going to be possible. I didn't. I will say that before we even set out to build the iOS app, we thought that the first thing I investigated was to build an app clip. We were trying to think incrementally of like, oh, okay, app clip is like a small app, so maybe we build that first, and then we build a full app. And after investigating, for some time, it was clearly not the right frame of mind. You need an app first, and then you build an app clip after. But yeah, after we built the app, we shipped it to the App Store. We then, wanted to tackle the next problem, which was how do we get more people to install the app? Mm-hmm. And so we revisited the app clip idea. And luckily, there was one like open source library, React Native app clip, which believe used like Expo modules under the hood that kind of handled a lot of the native configuration that, if we had to do ourselves, would have definitely taken a lot more time and investment into like understanding the native code. But luckily, there was support for it in open source. And yeah, we worked with Software Mansion to kind of fill the gaps of, okay, how do we actually incorporate this, library into our product? And so we built an app clip for our event page. It was a very like seamless flow, in our opinion, where, as I mentioned before, when you create an event, you want to invite people. Most people, they just send the link to their friends on, whatever messaging app. And in the US, the common in New York, at least, the common one is iMessage. Mm-hmm. And so with app clip, one of the invocations for an iMessage for app clips is an iMessage link. And so we had to hook up some, server code to set up the invocation. But then, once we've built the app clip side of things, we could essentially, a host sends a event page to their guest, an app clip shows up on iMessage, and then you press a button, and then the app clip installs right there, a lot of times without people even realizing that they installed an app clip. And then you get this really beautiful, like native app experience that I think far exceeds, opening a browser on the phone.
Yeah, definitely. App clips are like one of the best inventions on iOS. I remember when I was in San Francisco, we wanted to ride the yellow cable car, and I had to install an app just to buy like 2 tickets. And here in Poland, in Krakow, the city where we have like Software Mansion headquarters, if there's a bus stop, then there's like some kind of tag, and if you move if you touch it with the like top of the screen of your iPhone, then it gets there's an app clip that just shows, and you can buy tickets without installing any app. So this is like an ideal solution for tourists, and I also suspect that it makes easier to invite people to the events if they just don't need an app, and they can install the app afterwards when they have great experience with your product. So this is a great way to get more users to use your app.
Definitely. And yeah, I also should add from like the technical side, what made app clip also very easier to build from our end, from the React Native side, is we could, I mentioned that our app clip is the event page. We can reuse like all of the code that we have for event page on our normal app in the app clip. There are some, we did have some hiccups of like, app clip has a size limitation. And so we had to do things like excluding certain libraries from the app clip. So if we, if our main app includes, XYZ libraries for our general app, but not used on the event page. For AppClip, we had to write some custom logic to like exclude those packages to get under the size limitation. But besides that, for like components, for logic, all of that is already built. And so it was nice to not have to like build a whole new surface area from scratch, like duplicate a bunch of code. Like, no, we can more easily and more quickly build the app.
Yeah, definitely. If you can just reuse something, this is great. Programmers love it.
Yeah, exactly.
And what about live activity? How does it work? Like I can imagine live activities if you have like some ride sharing app, or if you're waiting for your airplane. But how does it work? How does the feature work in Partiful?
Yeah. So so our use case for live activity was, definitely inspired by the rideshare apps where, for rideshare, when you enter the car or when you request a ride, it appears on your phone. You can see the status of the ride. For us, similarly, when you open the Partiful app, I think it's like 2 hours before you have an upcoming event, we show a live activity. And then it kind of persists there until the event's over.
So you're not going to forget that you're invited, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No
exactly.
excuses.
I actually ran this. I thought it was a very cool, like, chart / visualization of all of our analytic events happening 2 hours before and then like to the end of the event. I wanted to understand how people were using the Partiful app, during an event or before an event. And, as you can imagine, some popular things are checking the location, right? Like people need to know where to go. So they like click on the location. They maybe go to their Apple Maps or Google Maps. Checking the guest list is, you got it. Before you go to the event, you probably want to see who's going. If anyone last minute is dropping out or getting added in. And then changing RSVPs is another one. People like, hey, I'm going, or now I can't go. And then like when the event is over, the common one was uploading photos. So, the event was over. I took some photos during the event. I want to share it with people. And honestly, with live activity, we just wanted to encourage that behavior and make it easier to do what people were already wanting to do. And so, when the live activity appears, you can just one click see the location, one click see the guest list, and then one click like upload photos. To build it, it's a little bit different from AppClip, where this is where we built the UI with Swift, Swift UI. And this was something that Software Mansion did help us with. I may have tinkered a little bit with the Swift code and reviewed some things, but I certainly wouldn't call myself a Swift engineer. But from the React Native side, we just needed to kind of make a call to like initiate the live activity. Then in the native side, we did have to build like essentially like an SDK of like, okay, this is the initialize function, this is the destroy function, and once that was built, we built the Swift components. It's pretty seamless, just pass data from React Native to the live activity in Swift, and it seemed to work. I think the other thing that we had to build was pushing updates to the live activity. From what I can remember, so there was a lot of like backend work as well. We could reuse a lot of our like just general push notification like framework to send updates to the live activity, and the live activity would ingest these like push notification updates and change the UI based off of whatever data we sent. So it was a pretty cool full stack kind of project. in the sense of backend, React Native, and Swift. Fun project.
Yeah, definitely fun. I'd say this is like an ideal project for like software mention. It's not only like building the app, which like users love. It's definitely great user experience and like great product. But also like kind of in parallel, we're also improving on the ecosystem. We're also allowing other projects to use what we've done. I wasn't involved in this project in the implementation, but when I was like walking through the office, I think it was Kamil, and I talked with him briefly, and he said that he's working on adding support for transparent videos, like for like alpha channel. And I asked him like, what's the reason for having transparent videos? And turns out that it was like for the confetti animation that's in the app, right? Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. A lot of our effects are transparent videos. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is also a great like design. You don't need to render every like confetti piece. You can just have it like prepared by some designer, just export it as a video, as a transparent video, and yeah, just run it in the app. So if you're building great products, great user experiences, then you might like you might need some extra tools. But the thing that I love about React Native is that it's not limiting you in any way. If something's missing, you can just add support for it, right? Like
Yeah.
people like some clients might be afraid that if they're gonna choose React Native, then sometime there might appear some like boundary that you can't like cross, and you just have to lose whole project and start from scratch. This is not how it works. If something's missing in React Native, you just hire an external agency, I guess, or become a core contributor, and you just solve the problem yourself.
Yeah, that was definitely cool. I like with the effects. Like I mentioned, we have the web product, and so the effects kind of were started like used on web. And then we started to build up a library of effects, and we have really talented like animation and just graphic designers on our team that can pump out like all these really cool effects. And so we already built a system for it for our web product. And then when we built the app, it was like, okay, we could just simply reuse those things. And so it worked perfectly on iOS. Like you said, it would be a huge endeavor to have to like kind of rebuild it either using our own physics engine or even whatever animation library, whereas we could just easily port over the same video files that we're using on web. For Android, I remember the first time we opened the video file on Android, I'm like, oh my goodness, like what is this, what is happening? And so yeah, we were like, we need a software mention to help us with this. And it was very cool that we could whip up like a library to solve for this problem. It was cool that this problem was like a known issue in general. Like, we didn't come up with the solution on our own. I remember reading a bunch of articles around this like alpha problem for Android devices. And it was really cool that we could just take, those learnings and write it into the React Native ecosystem and build a solution for us. So all in pretty quick time. So yeah, definitely a successful partnership there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely happy to hear that. So, like, what makes a technical collaboration successful with like external vendors like us?
Yeah, I think you guys are good. I think that's first off is just like good engineers and good people. But yeah, more seriously, I think one thing that like I wanted to make sure of early on was like a user empathy. And obviously Partiful was it was a newer product, and especially in Poland, it's in its early days, and wanting to onboard Camille and David, and then later Patrick, onto like understanding what the product was and understanding like why we wanted to build certain things. So, with the Android stuff, but also app clip it was very important for you guys to like understand why we were doing things. And I think like I think also what made it successful was, simply put, a level of trust in knowing that I wasn't going to be able to understand 100% of everything. But wanting to understand enough, for Software Mansion to be able to communicate like just the perfect amount of like understanding for me, but also not too much where, I would get confused or it would slow things down. I think that was what made us move quickly, while also building like a resilient product. And we've had AppClip supported for the past, it's been years now. And same for live activity. It's probably been a year at least. And obviously Android. So it's been resilient features, and I think a lot of credit to our communication and just ability of the engineers.
Yeah, really, really happy to hear that. Thanks a lot. And it looks like you have been rewarded. The Partiful app was titled the best app of Google Play Store 2024, and it's also listed as like one of the top 26 apps in App Store for 2026. So it looks like the stores, the app stores, really like rewarded the app. This is like a big title. How did the team react? And this is like pun intended.
I was shocked. I was shocked. I don't check my email every day. And so I remember like seeing the email and then like panicking and being like, oh my God, I didn't respond for a few days. Like, are we going to lose? Like, and I think I read the email maybe 20, 30 times because I didn't want to like say the wrong thing to the team, to actually be like, oh no, we didn't, like, this doesn't really mean anything. And with Google, there's a lot of teams and a lot of awards, miscellaneous things. So I was very uncertain at first, but after communicating with them, it kind of settled in. Like, wow, okay, this is real. I think the team was obviously we were very excited, very honored, and I think just inspired to make the product better. When we found out we won the award, and they kind of gave us a few months, maybe a month or so, warning in advance, to kind of like, hey, prepare. We were like all hands on deck. Okay, we need to make this app better. Like
motivation, right?
Yeah, it was motivation to make it better. And we still have a long way to go for both Android and iOS to make it better. But yeah, in that moment, like, we were motivated to polish things up and improve perf and stuff like that.
Congrats again. I'm really happy about this because this also tells us that Apple awards apps that are created not in SwiftUI but also in React Native. So this is like the perfect proof that even like not even React Native apps, that just React Native apps are like the top-notch apps when it comes to App Store. So this is like a very good sign for the whole community and a very good sign for all those that consider using React Native but are like, should I use React Native? Maybe let's use SwiftUI. I mean, at some point you're probably gonna need to use SwiftUI if you want to develop certain features, like in-app features, as like with like live activity. but the whole app, it can be written in React Native and it can get you a Apple award.
Yeah.
This is really nice. Okay, so what are the next steps here? Like, what's your current focus when it comes to the app, to the features? What you're currently working on?
Yeah. So for the past year, I kind of mentioned one of our newer features, which is discovering events.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, Partiful has been the place where everyone's been hosting birthday parties and housewarmings and those kind of events. But we wanted to expand to, okay, maybe I don't have I don't have an event of my own. I'm not planning to host anything right now. We still want to help you find things to do, to go outside and touch grass. And so, yeah, with the discovery feature, we shipped on app and on web as well. But you can find, trending events. You can find orgs that are hosting events, like interest-based orgs or location-based orgs. And you can even find events that, like public events that your friends are going to. So like event discovery has been a big focus for us recently.
Mm-hmm.
In the year ahead, I don't want to reveal too much, but I'll just say the number one question I've gotten working at this company has been, how does Partiful make money?
Mm-hmm.
And so, working on some monetization stuff, which is exciting. It's not necessarily, directly related to app. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be shipping these kind of things on all platforms. React Native makes it easy to kind of be more product first, and then just like ship across platforms. So, 2026 hopefully is the start of monetization for us.
Okay, fingers crossed. Okay, and if you could give some tips for people that are building their own apps, like what would be the advice for them? Like, how do you build good apps? What makes an app good, and what makes the product good? I know it's like a very broad question. Maybe
Yeah.
there's something that comes to your mind, like something that Partiful does differently. You said that that the role at your company is called product engineer. So
Mhm.
maybe I assume that all of the engineers that you have, they are probably using Partiful like daily. So they also, this is like the term for this is dogfooding. So maybe like I'd say it's really good if the developers are also the app users, they can work on making the product better.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I would say there are two things that come to mind. The first thing is kind of building off of what you just said, where, like at Partiful, we are product engineers. And we try our best to understand like the user problem and like why we're building a feature. And having the engineers also be that, I think, is just our superpower for our company. And we are definitely lucky to have a product where, like you said, our employees, all my teammates we're all active users of Partiful. So it can be easy to intuit certain things and have user empathy. But at the same time, we're not every user on Partiful. Like there are plenty of other demographics that we need to build for. So I think that balance of awareness of like, we're building for ourselves, but also, some features may be more targeted for, a power host or someone that, doesn't live in a major city. So user empathy from the engineers, product empathy from the engineers, I think is the first thing. I think the second thing is something that we talk about at our company is trying to just build off of existing user behaviors, like existing human behaviors. And so it actually, when I first met Treya and Joy before I even joined the company. Like, this was 2021. The thing that was most hot was crypto. And at the time, I was telling friends like, hey, I might join this like party startup.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, are you sure you want to do that? Like, I don't know about consumer social, especially like parties. And, I did have those doubts. And one thing Shreya and Joy kind of said was like, hey, like, partying has been something that's been happening for, centuries, right? Like, it is a human behavior. People want to meet like in person. They want to gather, they want to have fun. Like, like existentially, this should be something that people want to do. And I think that kind of learning applies even at a smaller scale when we like build features of like, I mentioned the live activity, like how we decided what to put in the live activity. We try to just understand how are people using like the app now? What is the existing behavior and how do we make it easier? As opposed to building something where you're just trying to build a brand new user behavior that, it's much riskier. Certainly it's possible, but yeah, it can be risky if you're building a new app. So yeah, that'd be my advice.
Okay, thank you. This is like really, really valuable. Okay, so I think that we can slowly wrap things up. I really hope that our engagement, like Partiful and Software Mention, is gonna create like some good results, and we'll have plenty of reasons to celebrate. I can only imagine what was the party at the end of 2024 when you guys earned the awards, and I really hope that you have like more reasons to celebrate in the future using Partiful.
Definitely. Yeah, I appreciate that so much. We had fun. We really enjoyed it. We always think about, you guys, and you're always in our thoughts when we celebrate. And, I've been bugging Camille, and we'll bug you to come visit us in New York, and we can celebrate together.
Yeah, I'd love to. Okay, thank you. So thanks for sharing all of the insights. For everyone watching, be sure to leave us a like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, as they say. And thanks, Alex, for joining us. See you next time.
Thank you. See you.